Finn was the funniest. At a certain point, he started directing the kids and saying like, oh, you do this and you do that. And Finn is now a director, and I just cast his first feature. He was right to be directing those kids then because he's a natural, and I was super happy to get to see that very beginning of his directing career. Hi, I'm Carmen Cuba, casting director for Stranger Things, here with Vanity Fair to talk about the casting process. If I'm honest, when we cast Stranger Things, we had no idea that it was going to be a huge hit. We had no idea it was going to go on for how long. You know, sort of the foresight to imagine a future with these characters, but I was really just trying to get the best version of it in the present. Very early on, the Duffers and I discussed that these parts were not likely going to be able to be pulled off by a kid who didn't have some experience. So while some of my process involves, being out in the world and seeing a kid that looks a certain way and, sort of talking to his parents and saying, hey, does your kid want to act? This was not going to be that because it was going to be such hard work. It was going to be every day for months on end and very specific dialogue. So that was helpful because from the very beginning, we were like, okay, no sort of street casting for this. We're going to start with theater schools, acting coaches, kids who've been on Broadway. The kids on the Stranger Things cast have not popped up out of nowhere. They've been working really hard for years prior to us finding them.
Hi, I'm Noah Schnapp. I'm 10 years old. Am I weird? It's just sometimes I feel, I don't know, like I'm stuck.
Noah's audition was really special because it really informed our need for finding somebody who was young and innocent, but who had a strong charisma that would keep the viewers interested in why these kids were so dedicated to finding him, because he doesn't actually show up that much in season 1, but we knew that he needed to really carry season 2. So we were looking for a lot from this character, and he had experience on stage, just shot a film with Spielberg, really just brought it every time we called him in. So it was very exciting to see this first tape and to know that we would have him continue on in the process with us.
My name is Millie Brown. I'm 11 years old. You can't see. I can see it. I saw them.
That clip of Millie is also very memorable because we had her do the scenes first prior to this. We could tell that she could cry, but she hadn't quite done it. And the Duffers just asked if we could have her try it again and sort of see how emotional she could get with it. And obviously she got very emotional, and it was actually shocking that someone that young could do that. And another thing about Millie during the audition process is that she's British, and she did everything, including the Skype with the Duffers in an American accent. So we sort of forgot that she even was British. So she's pulling all of that acting off while also doing an accent. And at that young age, it was very impressive, as you can see on the series.
Hi, I'm Finn Wolfhard. I'm sick. I'm late. I'm 4'11". I'm 12 years old. Nancy, listen to me.
What the hell, Mike?
Listen. Do you remember 2 days ago with them had your trick when it looked like my Millennium Falcon was really flying?
Finn's audition was fun because it was done from his bed while he was in the middle of being super sick. None of that showed. You could tell he had energy and life and was really excited to play the part.
No, I'll prove it. Most excellent promise you can make. Swear it! Okay, now close your eyes.
And had sort of the same adventurous, playful spirit as his character. So that was very memorable about that audition.
Hi, my name is Caleb McLaughlin. I'm 13 years old. Listen! Except I didn't tie it to a string. It was actually flying. This could be the most excellent promise you can make. Open.
Caleb was fantastic. He's somebody who'd been on Broadway. We knew he had experience, and he just brought sort of an energy that the other kids fed into. All of them together have a very distinct energy and personality that create this friend group, and we saw that immediately from his very first audition.
My name is Gaten Matarazzo, and I'm 12 years old. This is probably the most serious, most important thing ever. Swear first. The most excellent promise you can make. Just stand over there, Nancy. You're not coming out until your eyes are closed.
Okay, they're closed.
Open. I have absolute power. Say it.
You couldn't have predicted or sort of sought out someone like Gaten. So he was an excellent surprise. What he brought to the character was not what we imagined. And it also made us realize that we didn't even have any idea what it could be until we met him. He was sort of the first one that created the part outside of how it was written from the very beginning.
The Demogorgon is tired of your silly human bickering. It stops towards you. Boom! Fireball hit will! Stop! Boom!
Protect!
He was in anger!
When we got them all together, we had already fallen in love with their tapes. We knew that they were surprising, but bringing them all together, do scenes together and step out and watch each other, just the dynamics on screen were exciting enough, but the dynamics off screen really sealed the deal because you could tell that they would be a team. They played off of each other. They weren't competitive. They were really supportive and enthusiastic. Try to imagine what it must have been like when they cast the Little Rascals. It feels like a version of that, which I think you feel on the screen when you watch them.
How's Bob the Brain?
Don't call her that.
Sorry, old habit.
He's good. We're good.
Good.
When I first read the script, I definitely felt this pull towards Winona. And it felt like the combination of kids with her as a mom was a winning formula. And she did not audition. She just met with the Duffers and they talked through it. And I think it was very surprising for her that she responded to the material and to them. But I just felt like she would have a connection to it and to them, even though it was just a guess on my part. I'm happy that it was a good guess. And David is someone I've been watching for years. You know, for me, as much as I love the famous person that he was always in a scene opposite, I always found myself looking at him, watching his performance, and just sort of as a casting director, hoping that one day I would have something where he would be the famous person in the scene opposite someone less famous than him. And this really was the perfect opportunity. And he auditioned for me in a, tiny room in New York City, and he's acting. And immediately, as soon as I sent that audition off to the guys, I knew he was our Hopper.
You can never surrender. You don't like it?
No.
The evolution of the show has definitely brought challenges, and each season it sort of escalates or becomes a different version of the original challenge. I would say after season 1, the unexpected challenge was that there were a lot of famous people who wanted to be on the show and who said, I'll do anything. I'll do a day. I'll do 3 days. I'll be an extra. And while that seemed very enticing, the challenge was really trying to stick to what the spirit of the show was, which is the combination of these kids who we didn't know with Winona, who we all love. I would say the other challenge, which is probably pretty obvious, is that our cast is so talented. Anyone we bring to the show has to be as talented as they are, and that's a very high bar. A good story is that Paul Reiser was not aware of the show, but his son, thankfully, was a super fan. His son was like, you have to do it. That was super helpful. I think that we do get a lot of sort of children of these people that we're hoping to have on the show being big cheerleaders for us. And that's super exciting too.
This year's different. This year, it's my year. I can feel it. 86, baby.
I think season 4 has so many incredible new characters, and that the actors that we were lucky enough to have in those roles really just turned it up. From some roles that just had a few scenes to Eddie Munson with Joe Quinn. It really was impressive, like Robert Englund this season. Actually, Robert auditioned for the role of the mayor in season 3. So we had already seen him the year before were so grateful that he would audition, because another thing that is key to Stranger Things is that the Duffers really figure out a lot about the characters through auditions. So they don't necessarily sit down and say, like, we're looking for someone who does this, this, and this. We sort of have these sides, the material that people audition with, and then they watch a lot more than a lot of directors and creators do, because they learn about the character through people's auditions, which is an amazing process for me and really fun.
How do you like them, Max? Would you like to join them?
For Vecna, we didn't have materials yet, and it sort of came to me while the Duffers were still developing the character. The only things we really knew were that he needed to be both characters, and that he needed to be at least 5'10" and have a very thin face and physique. Keep in mind, we're not allowed to say what anything is for this show. So I basically released something saying that I needed people who fit that description. Then we used a scene from Primal Fear and a scene from Hellraiser. So knowing it was Stranger Things, but not knowing what the character was and doing fake sides, it's all, that kind of situation is always slightly mayhem. But when someone really sort of brings all of those bits of information together into their own thing, then it really stands out. And with Jamie, we immediately were so excited because he did somehow combine the energy of Stranger Things with those two very different movies. And that was what we always look for, and that was what he brought. Stranger Things was not that difficult to cast. The material was excellent, and that always makes the job of casting much easier. The other thing that made it pretty easy is the fact that nobody had any idea that anyone would see this show. So there were very low expectations in a good way, because the low expectations coming from sort of the gatekeepers, which allowed the Duffers, Sean Levy and I, to really have a lot of freedom and be really creative and genuinely just pick the group of kids and adults that would make the show feel the way that they had it in their heads. It wasn't really that hard.
I breathe from my diaphragm. I'm scared that it's gonna affect something. You'll be fine.
Is your name Gaten Matarazzo?
Yes.
Are you 16 years old? Do you play the character Dustin in Stranger Things?
I do.
Are we all calibrated?
Yep. Ready to go.
Then let's get started.
Okay.
First thing we'll talk about, Stranger Things. When you first read the script, did you think the show would be as big as it is?
No, I hoped, obviously, but not a lot of us had like the greatest amount of hopes for it really blowing up, just because it was a very small production, and this is before like a lot of Netflix shows were even coming out. So this was like only a couple really. I think Orange Is the New Black was the big one at the time, and it was like, oh, what if it's one of those? What if it's one of those? And we're like, oh, come on, guys, let's take it back a notch.
Did you ever get stopped by fans when you leave your house?
Someone did come to my house once. I was watching a movie with my girlfriend, and all of a sudden I hear a knock on the door. I thought it was like, I don't know if it was like my brother coming home from school or something. I open up the door and there are these two little kids, and I'm like, oh, Girl Scout cookies, yes. And I was so excited. And they're like, are you Gaten? I was like, yeah. I didn't know if they were going to give me like a letter or something. They're like, can we get a picture? And I was like, and all of a sudden I find out the next day that they went to my grandma's house and she invited them in for like coffee. Because that's just my grandma. It's hilarious. I don't know if like they had mutual friends or something, or I don't know how they figured it out, but like my grandma invited them in. It was like something you should never do, but they were great people.
Do you get a lot of fan mail?
Yeah, there are a lot of fan letters. I can't always read them though, because I mean there's a lot of, they just pile in, and like there's not always a lot of places to put them. There's like a part of my room, it's just like a bunch of like letters and like paintings and stuff. I look like a sociopath that's in love with myself, because like there's a bunch of paintings like of me that are like next to my bed on my dresser, and it freaks me out when I'm looking at them. But a lot of them are so great. I just want to keep them because they're so talented and people put so much time and effort into them. But a lot of times it's hard to read all of them or keep all of them.
Have you ever met someone who has a tattoo of you?
Yes, I have. I've seen pictures of people with my face on there. I've actually signed someone's arm before, and they came back the next day and they had tattooed it to themselves.
Does that freak you out?
A little bit. Yeah.
Feeling excited for the new season?
Yeah.
Will one summer really change everything?
In ways.
Does Netflix train you how to answer when people ask you for spoilers?
Actually, yeah, they send in like a guideline before press junkets, and they say what you can say, what you can't say, so to let you know exactly how to handle certain situations. But I mean, we've done it for a while, so I feel like we're pretty good at it.
So, can you give me some spoilers?
No.
Does one of the main characters die this season?
Yes.
Will this character, Will, ever catch a break?
Yes.
Lou, do you know what's going to happen in the final season?
No. I know that they have certain things planned. I don't know what. They don't usually like to express that.
Do you know any spoilers for other Netflix shows?
No. No, I don't.
Does Netflix punish you if you spoil Stranger Things?
I don't know, because I haven't done it yet. I sure hope not.
Do you ever read fan theories about the show on Reddit?
Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes they're cool, sometimes they're accurate, and sometimes they're just lame.
You mind if I read you a couple?
Please.
Do you think it's possible that Will has psychic powers that can open the gates to the Upside Down?
Maybe. That'd be really cool. He's got something going on.
Have you ever pondered the idea that Hopper might actually be Eleven's dad?
No, I've never really liked that theory. There's a lot of people that think that, but it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, you look back to his daughter, looks nothing like Millie, and the age doesn't match up with the time, with how much he's aged from that point, and it just wouldn't make any sense. I think it'd be far-fetched, and 11 would recognize him.
If you could, would you bring back Barb from the Upside Down?
I wouldn't, simply because I think her death was essential in demonstrating that nobody was safe. Even the most innocent, likable, relatable character couldn't be saved from what's going on. And I think that really resonated with audiences. And I think that's why they want her to come back, because they liked her so much and because she didn't deserve it and it wasn't fair. That's why she died.
Sam, do you think the Upside Down is actually an alternate universe?
Yeah. That's interesting, though. There's a lot of theories that it might be from the future.
Do you think the Upside Down could be part of the multiverse?
What do you mean?
Like maybe it's part of the Marvel multiverse?
Oh, something like that. I don't know about that. I think that they want to keep it within the Stranger Things universe as a whole.
But maybe.
That'd be interesting to think about. I think it's definitely a lot closer to home than we might believe, or maybe even a lot further. I think there's a lot more about it we don't know, and I'm really excited to see where they take it, to see if we can learn more about it.
Do you think it's possible that Riverdale is the Upside Down, and that's why Barb's there?
I don't think so. No, but that's interesting to think about.
Did you like your character's makeover at the end of season 2?
I wouldn't personally dress up that way, but I think it was very fun. It actually didn't take that long to do, but it was very fun getting to dress up like that, and I enjoyed it a lot.
So you've never worn that hairstyle in regular life?
I have, technically, during the shoots, but I wouldn't use it as a stylistic choice, no.
Lou?
That one was largely deceptive.
What? Oh, goodness.
Who would you say is a better mom? Joyce Byers or Steve Harrington?
Probably Joyce. She never stops trying. She never stops wanting what's best for her kids, and she doesn't care if she puts herself in harm for that. And Steve's a very good protector, but it seems like he's always the one, in a way, he seems to bring them towards the trouble, even though he should probably keep them back. I feel like every time, I mean, of course he never really wants to bring them there, but when he's there, he helps them out in that sense. But I think Joyce would die for any of the kids. I think Steve might too now, but before, maybe not.
Do you ship Hopper and Joyce?
I do. Yeah, I think that's I think it's an interesting plot line. I think that would be really cool if they went further with that. I do.
Season 3 comes out July 4th, 7/4. 7 plus 4 is 11.
Oh my God.
Coincidence?
Most likely.
Let's move on to your co-stars You and the other Stranger Things cast seem to get along very well.
Very well.
Do you all have a group chat?
We have several, I guess. I think there are some depending on like what's going on, because sometimes there are press junkets that happen with there's just 3 of us, so we have a group chat, and then there's group chats with all of us, and we don't really use it a lot, especially when we're in Atlanta, because we see each other for like 10 hours a day every day. We don't really need to text.
Is there any one person who texts too much?
No, actually. We don't text each other a lot. I think we should.
Is there a collab in the works between your band and Finn Wolfhard's?
In my mind there is. That'd be really cool. I'd like that. And even if we didn't make like music together, at least like a show together would be a lot of fun. I think that would be great.
Do you know who would win in a battle of the bands?
I'm gonna say them right now, just because they have more original music and they all play instruments.
Really?
And yeah, that's probably like the only reason. I'm gonna say them now, but who knows? Because I mean, we're still making our stuff, so we gotta like establish our sound first, I think.
But someday.
Someday.
Would you say that this man, Joe Keery, is more of a heartthrob than this man, Dacre Montgomery?
No, I wouldn't. For some reason, I just feel like, I don't know why, but for some reason, like, every one of the female friends that I have asked me about Dacre before. I wouldn't.
How did they stack up against this guy, Noah Centineo?
My girlfriend's in love with him. She tells me all the time. I don't know. His name comes up more with that topic, so I'm going to say him.
Can you tell the difference between the 2 Duffer brothers?
I can, and I know exactly how I can. Matt has this gray streak at the front of his hair. It's natural. He doesn't know why he has it, and he's always had it. That's how I told him apart to begin with. But eventually, like, you just start to like decipher certain features. I don't even think you even realize what they are, and like eventually, it's just like it's not even a question anymore. At first, sometimes I'd mix them up, especially when it was like night shoots.
So you're sure you can tell them apart?
Not if you show me like when they're like kids. If you show me like pictures when they were like students, probably not. But now, definitely.
Which one is this?
That's Ross.
I believe that's Matt.
No way. It's not Matt. That's not Matt. That's Ross. Is that Matt? Oh, sorry, buddy.
Does the cast ever go out to karaoke together?
They did karaoke for the season 2 rap party, and I couldn't attend. I had to get out of there really quick. I was upset about that. But I've never gone to do karaoke with them before. I'd like to, though.
So you've done karaoke on your own?
I have done karaoke on my own.
You have a go-to song?
I think it depends. I'm a musical theater guy, so sometimes I'll sing that, and usually people don't really care about me singing musical theater because it's in no way fun to listen to at karaoke, but it's fun.
Who would win in a karaoke off? You or Millie Bobby Brown?
I don't know. I might say her. She was like much more upbeat and energetic about the whole thing, so I think she might like be a little bit more comfortable doing it. Whenever I do it, I actually go to try and sing as best I can, and that's not what karaoke is for. Is that I have fun, but I'm like, I have something to prove. I don't. It's karaoke.
What about a rap battle?
Oh, she totally went. For sure, she totally went. I can't rap to save my life.
What about you versus this person, Caleb McLaughlin?
It's hard to say, actually. In karaoke, we're still saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I might take him on. I think I might take him on karaoke. But we have to actually have an official battle to see.
Sounds like the gauntlet's been thrown.
I think so. I'm excited now.
Okay. Final question.
Okay.
At any point during this interview, did you lie and we didn't catch you?
I don't think so, no.
You're an open book.
I'm an open book. I just found out that I'm an open book. I don't lie a lot, apparently.
Natalia.
Yes.
Charlie.
Hello.
We're going to be taking a lie detector test today. One of you will be hooked up to the machine while the other asks questions. And then you'll switch. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
You go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I look afraid?
Just a bit. Nothing to worry about.
Okay. Is your real name Charlie Heaton?
Yes.
Were you born in Bridlington, England?
No. I was born in Leeds. Grew up in Bridlington.
Are you ready to take this lie detector test?
I think so.
Okay, let's get started. So you grew up in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to move back?
Sometimes.
Would you say you prefer fish and chips over a hamburger and fries?
Yeah.
Is it fair to say you're more of a Prince Harry than a Prince William?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Would you say I'm more of a Meghan than a Kate?
Yes.
Does being British mean you have to care about the royals?
No, I don't.
Was it hard to perfect your American accent?
No.
Have you ever had a hard time understanding my accent?
Sometimes.
Vague.
No. I'd say no. No, actually, no.
Do you think I do a good British accent?
Yes.
Is it true your birthday is February 6th?
Yes.
So you're an Aquarius?
Yes.
Would you say you relate to the song Age of Aquarius?
I don't know.
Do you think you let the sunshine in?
Yes.
Are you into horoscopes? Astrology?
Astrology of late, yeah.
Do you believe our signs are compatible?
Yes.
Have you ever looked up the signs of your celebrity crushes to see if you were compatible?
No.
Is it true you were a drummer in the band Comaneci?
Yes.
Would you say you're a better musician than this man?
No. I think he's really talented. He's a great musician.
What about this young man?
Oh. I'm not more successful as a musician than this person.
Who would you say has influenced you as a drummer more? Charlie Watts or Ringo Starr?
Ringo Starr, for sure. King of Groove.
What about Animal?
Still Ringo Starr, but I liked how ferocious and erratic he was. I was probably closer drummer to this guy than Ringo.
Can you show me?
Show you?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. A little bit.
Tap?
I do it all the time. If you didn't want to act anymore, would you want to become a rock star?
If I didn't want to act, I don't think so. No. I mean, I don't miss it, and I used to do that, and I don't miss it. But if I wasn't acting, I don't know what else I would do. So maybe yes, I would probably. I mean, a big rock star would be pretty fun. So yeah.
Be honest. Have you ever purposefully trashed a hotel room?
Not on purpose.
But you have.
But I have.
Okay.
Trashed is one word.
You're going to be in the movie The New Mutants, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you nervous to join the Marvel Universe?
No.
Do you think mutants exist in real life?
No.
If you had superpowers, which power would you want to have?
Teleportation.
What do you think my superpower would be?
Yes.
Yeah.
To be invisible.
Interesting. You play Jonathan Byers in Stranger Things, right?
Uh-huh.
Are you a lot like your character?
No. Partly. Yes and no. These are hard. These are hard yes and strictly hard yes and no, because they all need an explanation. Yes, I am in some ways, and no, I am not in other ways.
Okay. Do you think Nancy would be into you, Charlie Heaton?
No.
Do you ever wish you had hair like this guy?
I don't even need to look at that. Yeah. Yeah, he's got the best hair. Come on. Who wouldn't want hair like this?
At any point during this interview, did you lie and we didn't get you?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you caught me.
Did he lie?
He's not lying.
Wow, truth teller. Guess you passed the test.
You ready, Natalia?
Yes?
Okay. Is your real name Natalia Dyer?
Yes.
Were you born in Nashville, Tennessee?
Yes.
Are you ready to take the lie detector test?
Not sure. I guess so.
Okay. All right, if we get started. Is it true you were born January 13th?
Yes.
As a child, did you have birthday parties with leftover decorations from New Year's parties?
I don't think so. I hope not.
Do you remember?
I mean, it's fine. Recycle, but I don't think so.
Do you remember the best birthday present you were ever given as a kid?
I had a Barbie Jeep. I can't remember if that was a birthday thing or if it was my sister's, but I drove it a lot. I don't know. That's one option.
Growing up, did you always want to be an actor?
Yeah, I did. I liked it.
Did you ever want to be anything else?
Yeah, I thought about it. Writer or, yeah, something else.
Do you have a favorite TV show growing up?
Like what age are you talking?
Let's pick like 12-year-old Natalia.
12-year-old? This is actually hard. I don't know. I mean, I watch Disney Channel.
Did you have a celebrity crush? Have you ever had a celebrity crush?
I did.
Well, who was your biggest celebrity crush? Make it that.
I think Orlando Bloom when Lord of the Rings was, I don't know. We had the same birthday. It's faded.
Yeah. Have you met them?
No. I'm not.
Do you have a current celebrity crush? Do you know who my childhood celebrity crush was?
I feel like I do. I feel like maybe I don't.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna find one that's... Your first role was in Hannah Montana, the movie, correct?
I mean, like IMDb role.
Were you more of a Miley fan or a Hannah fan?
Miley? I mean...
Okay.
Gosh, that's a tough one.
Do you think it's possible to have the best of both worlds?
Sure, yeah.
You graduated from NYU, correct?
I went there.
Do you think you're smarter than me because you went to college?
No. I can spell better, though.
True. Can you do your best New York impression accent?
No. I'll completely embarrass myself.
No?
I'll offend plenty of people, I'm sure.
You played Nancy Wheeler in Stranger Things, is that right?
Yes.
Did you watch a lot of scary movies to get ready for the show?
I watched some.
Scary movies?
I mean, yes.
Do you enjoy scary things?
No.
Be honest, did you watch Finn's movie It?
No. I'm so sorry.
No, I know.
I can't. I'm very suggestible.
You play Finn Wolfhard's sister in the show. In real life, you have a sister, is that correct?
Yes.
Does she like Stranger Things?
I have two sisters. I don't know if either of them have watched it.
Would you say you're a cooler sister than Nancy?
I don't know, Nancy's pretty cool.
You and I were cast around the same time, right?
What?
You and I were cast around the same time,
yeah.
Right? Do you remember your first impression of me?
Yes.
What was it?
You're scared of bugs. Yeah, you're cool. You're a cool guy. You're a drummer in a band.
Oh, man. Is that first impression still true?
You're cool. Of course. You're a cool guy.
Did you lie at any time when that we didn't catch you?
I don't think so.
Did she?
He's like, hey, me too.
I didn't lie either.
I also didn't lie.
No liar.
I'm not a liar.
It's time for your suffering to end.
Hi, I'm Barry Gower, and I'm going to break down how we created the creature prosthetics for Stranger Things Season 4. We were approached by the Duffer Brothers. They were after their own iconic villain for this season, and they wanted him to be very practical. And I think they'd seen our work with the Night King on Game of Thrones, and they'd seen our work with the radiation burns on HBO's Chernobyl. They said to us, we want our own iconic villain. We need our Stranger Things version of the Night King. Well, why don't we just approach the guys who did the Night Kings? We were given various concept art designs by concept artist Michael Mayer, who did beautiful, incredible designs for the Vecna character. We were sent those designs, and then we took a full body live cast of the actor Jamie Campbell-Bower. From that point, we had quite a large, extensive build to actually create the character, which we started with this full body live cast made out of plaster of Paris. When you do any prosthetic makeup, which involves appliances overlapping onto other appliances, there's a process called floating. The plaster cast of Jamie's body, we painted completely all over with a soap product first and let that dry. And then we sculpted Vecna over the top in this wax modeling clay. And then we needed to separate the sculpture into many different parts like a jigsaw puzzle and mold them separately. But to separate them, you need to submerge the whole body under water. So the water sinks into the plaster of Paris and reactivates the soap. So the plasticine actually floats off the surface of the plaster of Paris. This is the biggest thing we've ever tried to float a sculpt off in our workshop. So we bought this huge paddling pool, put it in our workshop, and it took a day to fill with water. And we'd built this scaffold piped kind of frame that we could screw into the back of Jamie's body and submerge him overnight for the soap to reactivate. We just drilled all these holes into his back so all the water can basically trickle out of the body. And we'll stand him back up, get some little tools and start separating the sculpture down into many, many different pieces, make molds of those pieces and inject them with different materials such as silicone and foam latex. It was about 24 or 25 overlapping prosthetics, which created the entire character of Vecna. We decided to go down the approach of doing a full body makeup as opposed to a pullover suit, because the character was going to be, it's going to have a lot of very intense, strenuous kind of movements in the show. He was going to be interacting with a lot of the main cast, and we wanted to avoid any kind of buckling that you usually get with a rubber suit. We wanted to adhere and glue all the appliances to the actor's skin, which in the end ended up with a process which started off at about 8.5 hours for the whole application process. Vecna's prosthetics, that they're made, it's a combination of two different materials. We use a silicone medical gel, which is encapsulated between a vinyl skin, and it's incredibly soft, and you can change the density of the prosthetic to make it firmer or softer. So we make the prosthetic very soft, so when everything's adhered to Jamie's skin, it moves very well, it doesn't buckle. We have a lot of stretch and it kind of contracts very easily. But due to that actual material, it's quite weighty as well, probably looking at about 10 to 15 kilos just in the head and shoulders. Then he had a full chest appliance, a full back appliance. The larger, heavier appliances were his left arm, which was basically a large sleeve, and then a foam latex glove that went over his mechanical left hands. He had dentures, which went over his own teeth, which were like clear vac form plastic sort of shells, which were artwork, so his teeth looked rotten and blackened. And he had contact lenses as well, full scleral contact lenses. So we really put him through the mill. There wasn't anything else we could get on Jamie. Biggest challenges really were to obviously make sure he could talk, he could eat, he could see, he could hear. He has got ear holes through the prosthetic there. We had to make sure, obviously, that Vecna would be able to go to the bathroom during the day as well. So we devised a kind of a system which went under his nether regions that we could pop open, and he could go to the loo, and obviously we wouldn't go with him. You know, there are all these things you need to take into consideration, that you've got a human under there at the end of the day, and they still need to eat, they still need to chat. There's a lot of contributing factors that you have to take into consideration when you're doing a full body makeup. But it got to the point that not only were our team seem like a well-oiled machine, but Jamie knew exactly where his arm needed to be at a certain time, or turn his head, or, oh, I'm standing now and now I'm lying down. For Jamie in particular, he did go into a Zen-like mode. We would start off with music every day, and because of the character, I think Jamie liked to listen to some quite aggressive, quite intense death metal, and it would be quite hardcore. There would definitely be a part during the process where he would become Vecna. He was kind of murmuring things under his breath, and you could tell he was definitely getting into the Vecna zone. I have killed everyone. And it was just really interesting because he would be sitting there very still, moving his hand around, we'd be airbrushing, moving around him, not really making much conversation. He would be, bassy sort of voice, and then an AD would step on the trailer and, Jamie, is there anything I get? Oh yeah, could I get a coffee with whatever? And he'd suddenly sort of shift back into Jamie again, and we'd realise that we've got Jamie in the makeup chair. It was very clear from day one that we would be working very closely with the VFX team, and there would be some augmentation to the finish of Vecna's look. Most notably, it was the moving vines all over his body. So even though they took our physical makeup itself, they used software and animation to give all the vines a slight movement, and everything sort of slithered all over his body. And they also removed Jamie's nose as well. On each application day, we had a black nose on Jamie with some little white marking dots, so VFX could remove that in post. But in the end, we ended up with a character which was about 90% practical. I think one of the most challenging things with the design was creating his large left hand with his extended fingers. So this was something that the production were quite keen to us to achieve practically for the shoot. So we created, it was mechanical left hand with finger extensions, which was covered in a foam latex prosthetic that our actor Jamie wore. It was sculpted by Pat Fode and Duncan Jarman, and Pat was responsible for Vecna's left hand, which the original design from Michael Mayer, it had Vecna with really extended long fingers on the left hand. The whole idea of Vecna killing his victims by using his hand and sort of penetrating their skulls and sucking their brains out as such. We were doing tests back at the workshop in the UK where we were using crew members and wearing the hand and trying to show the duffers, oh, this is how it could potentially work. They looked incredible when he was moving them, but they almost became a little comical when he was trying to sort of penetrate some fingers into the head. So we actually reduced the length of the fingers probably by about 4 to 6 inches. Jamie came over to the UK, came to our studio, and we had a complete set of appliances, but nothing was pre-painted. It was all bare, but he had the long finger extensions at this time. We'd been wearing it ourselves in the workshop and just making sure that the mechanics worked correctly. And we could only wear it for about 5 minutes or so, and we were finding the strain on our fingers. It was making our hands ache so much. By the time you took the glove off, you could hardly move your hand because you had cramps. So we were thinking, this is going to be really interesting with Jamie. Is this going to work? He's going to potentially be wearing this for hours at end on a shoot day. And he came in, he did the test, and he wore this hand for like several hours, took it off. He was absolutely fine. It was like water off a duck's back with Jamie. We looked at a lot of different colour reference for Vecna's skin tones, for his vines. We were given beautiful concept art from Michael Mayer. That was the perfect springboard for us. And the interesting thing is it's great having two-dimensional or 3D art, but when you have to translate that into physical prosthetic appliances, we have to use different paints, different bases. We always look at real-life reference for different skin tones. So we looked at a lot of different sea life. We looked at a lot of bruising on people who'd had severe knocks to the skin, lots of blues and greens and purples. Because we had this overwhelming amount of reference of different colors and what have you, we had to really hone it in to only a few colors. We actually had a makeup palette designed by a company called Premier Products, which had 10 different colors that we were able to use as a base each day as well. We'd only have one makeup palette and we had 10 different colors. So those are the colors that we used for the entire Vecna paint scheme in the end.
Did I survive?
So for Victor Creel, his history was many years ago, he had taken a razor blade and gouged through his eyes. The duffers wanted quite an extreme makeup. We had quite severe scarring going down the face, but they also wanted a remnants of maybe a burst but scarred eyeball as well on his right-hand side. So the difficult thing with doing a makeup of this nature is obviously you're covering an actor's eyes. And the first thing we would normally do is, once we have a cast of the actor, is we would dome the eyes in front of the eyes. They'd almost look like half golf balls in front of the actor's eyes. And then we would make a former of the face with those on, sculpt the makeup over the top. So when you have an appliance on the day and you stick it to the actor's face, there's actually a cavity inside. So Robert was able to open his eyes and look around inside the makeup. We were incredibly lucky with this character because we had Robert Englund, who's an absolute seasoned pro with prosthetics. He's probably worn more prosthetics than any actor going, I think. For us, this was like a dream come true. I was a huge fan of Fangoria magazine, and this is when I was starting to get into makeup effects, and I loved creatures. And in my bedroom at home at my mum's, I had my whole wall above my bedroom was a shrine to Freddy Krueger, and I just had all these posters. To actually get to work with Robert Englund, not only did we get to work on Stranger Things, but to work with Robert Englund, it's been like a dream come true. And he couldn't have been nicer. This was the fun thing with doing the makeup on Robert. He knew all the materials, he knew all the adhesives. We would be sticking a piece down and we'd be getting towards an edge, and he'd be like, I think you should be using some Prosaid adhesive there on the edge. We're like, yeah, we're literally just getting the Prosaid. And he knew every little trick that we were doing. He's so experienced with having so many makeup stuck on him. It couldn't have gone any smoother with him. We were very lucky. So this is the sculpture of Victor Creel's appliance, which you can see the difference in tone where the appliance finishes just prior to Robert's hairline, goes around his temples and down and round onto the face. And even though we're basically only scarring through his eyes, we make the appliance a little bit larger, and we cheat the nose forward as well. It comes over at the tip of his nose here. We cheat the cheekbones, we cheat everything forward because we've had to dome Robert's eyes out underneath. So if we were literally just going to cover his eyes and put scars through them, it would look really, really bizarre. So it's actually turned out being quite an extensive appliance. And Robert's got this trademark great facial hair as well. He's got this really beautiful beard. So we had to make sure that we finished the appliance shy of his beard line as well. It's quite a big appliance to go on the face, but it was all completely pre-artworked. We'd hair punched some eyebrows into the piece, some eyelashes, which kind of curled up a little bit the wrong way as well. And we put some kind of gloss materials onto the eyes themselves. So it gave us this kind of horrible mucusy feel to the eyelids. Once it was glued onto the skin on the day, we would just blend into the skin with an airbrush again and spattering various colours onto Robert's skin. About 2-hour process, I think, on the day. I think approaching a character like Victor Creel is probably a lot more grounded and in a way easier for us because we can look at a lot of real scarring reference as well. I mean, as prosthetic artists, we look at some quite graphic material. We look at a lot of facial scarring, lots of trauma, lots of different victims who've got terrible scarring, which sometimes we do very extensive burn makeups. But for somebody like Victor Creel's makeup, we did look at facial scarring going through eyes. So we knew he was human, but we had to make the appliance look very realistic, and it had to look very grounded as well. It is a very different approach because obviously Vecna is a fantastical creature. It's supernatural. It's part of the Upside Down. So we are using lots of reference of fantasy, references from wildlife, all kinds of different references. They're two very different approaches. I'm just a huge fan of effects, whether it's practical or digital. I think still to this day, you know, the work by Rick on American Werewolf is still so significant and is still, you know, the standard that we all aim to be as good as. There's also like Rob Bottin's work on John Carpenter's The Thing, which is all practical effects as well at the time. Huge fans of these kind of early 80s movies, which, you know, even by today's standards still haven't quite been beaten.
You have nothing to worry about as long as you answer honestly.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this, so my job is to lie. So it's like, it's been playing on my mind this for a while, and I'm really excited about it. So you're like a real one?
Yes, I was a detective for the district attorney's office.
Like you know exactly what's going on.
36 years already, you know, I can almost do it in my sleep. So you're in good hands.
I hope so.
To begin, I'm going to calibrate the machine by asking you some straightforward questions. Please answer honestly. Is your full name Millie Bobby Brown?
Yes.
Were you born on February 19th, 2004?
Yes.
Are you about to take a polygraph exam?
Yes.
Are you nervous?
I am.
All right, let's get started with your life.
Yeah.
You were born in Marbella, Spain. Do you speak Spanish?
No.
You don't want to learn the language of your birthplace?
I do. I knew it when I was little, but I don't. know it anymore.
Do you think you do a good American accent?
I do.
She's telling the truth.
Do you ever judge the American accents of other British actors?
Yes.
Have any of your American co-stars ever tried a British accent in front of you?
Yes.
Who is the worst?
Too broad of a question. I feel as though all of them.
That's a lie.
Who are you trying to protect, Millie?
Everyone.
You and your siblings were homeschooled. Were you a good student?
That was great.
Did you ever cheat on a test?
Yes.
She's telling the truth.
Did your parents ever find out?
Yes.
Let's move on to your career. In Enola Holmes, Henry Cavill plays your brother, Sherlock Holmes. Is he a better Sherlock than this man, Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yes.
What about this man, Robert Downey Jr.?
In my personal opinion, yes.
She's telling the truth.
Oh my God.
Who is a better detective, Sherlock Holmes or this man, Jim Hopper?
Sherlock Holmes.
Telling the truth.
So you're saying Jim Hopper isn't that good of a detective?
That's what I'm saying.
How do you think David Harbour is going to feel when he finds that out?
He's probably just gonna drink coffee and contemplate.
Have you ever gone to a party and said, let's crank this party to 11?
I haven't.
Do you ever wish people would stop making 11 jokes?
Every day.
Are there any other numbers you'd want to be associated with instead?
8.
Why?
It's my favorite soccer team player, Steven Gerrard.
You're best friends with your co-star, Noah Schnapp. Would a best friend let someone have this haircut?
He put himself in that position.
Do you think the Duffer Brothers were out to get him?
Every day.
Do you think he looks good?
I love him. Yes, I do.
Answer the question, please.
Yes, I do. I think yes. Sorry, I'm sorry. I do. I think he looks great.
In this haircut?
I do. Yeah.
That's a lie.
Get the picture out of here.
In a 2019 YouTube video, you and Noah claimed the funniest thing that happened to you was being stuck in a chair. Who was stuck? You or Noah?
Noah.
Why didn't you help your best friend?
I tried, but then I thought it'd be funnier to Instagram live it.
Your Stranger Things co-star, Maya Hawke, thought more characters should have died at the end of season 4. Do you agree?
I do, yeah.
Who do you think should have died?
Just tell the truth and you'll be fine.
I think that 11 should have died.
That's a lie.
I think that anyone other than 11 should have died.
We're getting closer to what she really thinks.
So what do you think, Millie?
I think if Maya thinks that, maybe Robin.
Do you think Robin should have died?
If that's what she'd like for her character.
Do you think Eddie should have died?
Yes.
You exclaimed, "Kissing sucks," after your first kiss with Finn Wolfhard. Is Finn just a lousy kisser?
He is.
She's telling the truth. He's a lousy kisser.
So he hasn't gotten better?
Not with me, no.
Have you told him this?
No.
He's gonna find out.
That's okay.
Do you think Steve and Nancy belong together?
No.
Who should Nancy pick?
Jonathan.
Why?
Because he's kind. And he might just need a little bit more time to grow into himself as a man.
You auditioned to be Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the Game of Thrones finale?
I didn't watch it.
Why? Were you bitter?
No, I really wasn't.
Are you watching House of Dragon?
I'm not.
Millie, when you were 14 years old, you said on a TikTok live that you thought the earth was flat.
Unfortunately, yes, I did.
Do you still believe this?
No.
Telling the truth.
Although I've never seen, like, the you know when you're on a plane, sometimes you can see it, the curve. I've not seen that yet.
You've seen satellite pictures, right?
I have, yeah. Thanks, Judd.
In 2018, you were featured in Time's 100 of the world's most influential people. Were you upset it wasn't the top 10?
No.
That's not the truth.
I don't really know what it meant at that time.
What do you think it means now?
A big deal.
So you're a little upset?
Not currently, but maybe then?
You have 58.7 million followers on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's too many?
No.
She's telling the truth.
Final question. At any point, did you lie during this interview and we didn't catch you?
Yes.
She's telling the truth.
I love you.
You guys could use this for like pure evil. Like, let's get a bunch of actors on a polygraph test. All the debaucherous stories, the gossip, what you guys could find out. Now I'm trying to get into your guys' heads. Is it working?
Lift your hands up high.
Yep.
Leans forward.
Okay.
Nothing hurts, okay? You're gonna feel a little pressure in your arm.
Great.
That's about it, okay?
Great.
There'll be no pain.
I would hope not.
To begin, I'm going to ask you a few questions to calibrate the machine.
Okay.
Is your full name Finn Michael Wolfhard?
Yes.
Are you worried about failing this test?
Yes.
Do you feel like you have something to hide?
No.
He's telling the truth.
Starting with your personal life. You were born in Vancouver, Canada, but have spent much of your time in the United States.
Yes.
Do you prefer Canadians or Americans?
Canadians. I think there's like a general politeness in Canada that you don't get sometimes in the States. Like, you don't get someone being like, hey, fuck you, or whatever it is. Which I've gotten in New York, I think at least 3 times.
So you hate New York?
No.
He's telling the truth. He doesn't hate me.
You hear that? It's my boy right there.
Do you think you're a nice person?
Yes.
Would any of your co-stars agree?
I think so, yes.
What about waiters?
Yeah, I think so. I would hope so. I'm gonna get a comment that's like, he did not tip enough, I'm sure. But I make sure that I tip. I'm sure in my life I've messed up. I've made mistakes in the past.
Tell him the truth.
You said you got your first acting job off of Craigslist.
Mm-hmm.
Is Craigslist a good platform for children to find employment?
No, I got lucky.
So it's only okay if you do it?
At that, yes. Yeah, it is only okay if I do it. I feel like I'm the guinea pig.
He's telling the truth.
You're in a band called The Aubreys.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a better Aubrey than...
Oh, no.
Aubrey Graham?
No. Look at this man.
He's had a lot of hits. You can't argue with the hits.
Would you ever want to collaborate on a song with him?
I don't think so. I really like Drake, but we make such different music. Maybe if he wanted to do like an indie rock song, then great. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Is it also because you've been on Twitter recently?
No. What's on Twitter? What's going on Twitter? Is there something going on with me and Drake on Twitter? I'm gonna have to go on X by Twitter. Am I telling the truth?
You've talked about getting a tattoo of your brother Nick's name.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. No. It's not my brother's name. Here's the thing. My brother, I was getting a tattoo and it's 2 sheep. It's like a John Lennon painting. Someone asked me like, are you getting the tattoo? Like, does it represent anything? And I was like, I guess if it represented anything, I guess it would be my brother, but that's not really the reason why I got a tattoo. My brother took that and ran. Now it's true, but at the time when I got it, it was not for my brother. Do you want me to show it? It's a little line drawing.
It's very good.
Thank you.
Does he plan on getting the same tattoo or a tattoo dedicated to you?
You know, I would hope so. Now that I have one, I think he should get like, you know how some people have like a caricature of their child's face on their chest? I would hope that he would get one of those.
He's lying.
Oh, come on. These things are inconclusive, right?
Keep going.
Judd.
Is it true that you've worn the same pair of pants for a month before?
Absolutely.
Do you not wash your clothes?
I do. Jeans, though, I feel like you can get away with for a long time. Right?
Do you believe in personal hygiene?
Yes.
Just tell the truth.
I just said that because it's been like 2 days since I've showered. That's why I said that. Was that bad? Like 2 days? Not bad.
Moving on to your career. You star in 2 recent Ghostbuster films.
Yes.
Are they better than the originals?
No.
He's telling the truth.
Are they better than the Star Wars sequel trilogy?
There was like a big discourse around Rian Johnson's movie, I guess. I loved that movie. I think that movie is so good and underrated. At least there was like a thing like, let's take a swing and try some new ideas. So that's not an answer. Do I find the Ghostbusters movies better than the like the new trilogy?
Your Ghostbusters movie.
My Ghostbusters movie. Yeah.
He's telling the truth.
Ghostbusters are known for not being afraid of no ghosts. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a paranormal experience?
I did have a paranormal experience.
That's a lie.
Fuck. Well, I did. Let me finish, Judd. What I thought was a paranormal experience ended up being my dishwasher. Like just the noise of my dishwasher. It was a windy day. Like in my head, I was like, doesn't wind mean like a lot of spirits are flying around? And then I heard like a long guttural noise from my kitchen that I thought was a ghost, but it ended up being my dishwasher.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Not yet, no. I haven't seen one.
He's telling the truth.
Do you have to see to believe?
I think so, yeah. Dan Aykroyd has had many paranormal experience, and I fully believe him that he has seen these.
Telling the truth.
You've been frequently cast in roles set in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it was the best decade?
No. Cold War? No, thank you. Right, Judd?
He's telling the truth, 100%. I was there in the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, it was a more free time, I'm sure. I wasn't there, but I think it was like, you know, you could ride your bike around without your parents thinking that like you'd go missing or get murdered or anything like that.
You directed and starred in the film Hell of a Summer.
Yes.
Are you a better director-actor than Bradley Cooper?
Bradley Cooper has much more experience than I, so I think he's a better director.
Telling the truth.
Are you a better director-actor than John Krasinski?
Again, he's done like these big movies, so I don't think so.
He's telling the truth.
Are you a better director-actor than Orson Welles?
Oh, come on. He's like the greatest of all time. Absolutely not. Imagine if I said yes. That would be the most unlikable thing I think that's ever been said on the show.
Judd?
He's telling the truth.
Open book.
So a number of your Stranger Things co-stars have said more characters should have died by the end of season 4. Do you agree with that?
Not by season 4, I don't think.
Do you not believe in consequences for characters?
I do. I really do believe in consequences for characters. There's been like family that have died, like, Max's brother and all that stuff. But no like main character has died yet. Except for Eddie and Barb and Bob and Mason. Yeah. A lot more than one.
Does anyone else die in season 5?
I truly don't know.
He's telling the truth.
Moving on to pop
Are you put
culture.
off? Are you put off by my answers?
I'm not on the spot here.
I'm on the spot here. You're right.
I think I should stick to asking questions.
Okay. I should stop being so insecure.
Do you think you're an
Judd.
insecure person?
Yes.
He's lying.
Interesting. I guess like I'm an anxious person. I'm not. I feel insecure in that way.
He's telling the truth there.
Moving on to pop culture. In 2020, you posted a picture of your younger self playing football and told the Seattle Seahawks you were available if they needed you. Did they ever call you?
Not for playing. I think I would die. I think I would actually die if I went on that field.
He's telling the truth.
Do you normally send public thirst traps to NFL teams?
Normally? I guess, yeah. I did it then.
Inconclusive on that one.
Inconclusive.
Who else would you like to reach out to?
Football-wise?
Sure.
The Chiefs had a dynasty. That's pretty cool. But I'm a Seahawks fan through and through, so.
Judd?
He's telling the truth.
You've expressed interest in being in a Marvel film.
Yes. In the past, yes.
Have you asked your Ghostbusters co-star, Paul Rudd, to put in a good word for you with the head of Marvel?
No.
Is that because MCU films have been mid recently?
Yes.
Tell the truth.
Do you believe the only way to fix it is to cast you in their next film?
Do I believe that I would save the Marvel franchise alone as an actor? No.
He's telling the truth.
In 2023, you beat your Stranger Things co-stars for the Kids' Choice Award for Favorite Male TV Star. Do you think you were the correct choice to win?
Yeah.
Do you brag about it to them?
No. I would if I got slimed. It's an iconic thing to get slimed.
Do you think you'd beat them in any category?
Like running? Is that a category?
Is that the category you want to choose?
Yes, running. I would choose running. I think that I have an edge. I think that I could beat Gaten or Caleb. Caleb's very fast. Caleb, on set, in the last few months, has asked to race at least 5 times. And I've said yes twice, and I've almost beat him twice. And I think soon I will.
Is this officially a moment you would like to challenge Caleb?
Caleb, I will beat you. You're going to see this and you're going to text me, and I'll have to commit now.
You were once advised that the minute acting is no longer fun, you have to stop.
Yes.
Are you still having fun acting?
I am, yeah.
What will be the thing to make you stop?
If I was like truly unhappy acting, I think that would be the thing that would make me stop. Or if like directing really picked up and I got to like direct all the time, then that would be amazing.
Do you think directing is better than acting?
Yeah, I do.
Judd?
He's telling the truth.
Do you want to be an EGOT?
That's Emmy, Grammy, what's the O?
Oscar.
Fuck. Oh. That was really dumb. And the T? What the hell is the T?
Tony.
The Tony. I guess not, if I forgot like the name of the Oscars. It'd be cool to win an Oscar. I don't know if I should win the EGOT. I don't think I should win the EGOT.
I was telling the truth.
Final question.
Okay.
At any point did you lie during this interview and we didn't catch you?
No.
Millie Bobby Brown, let's go. Scene selection. Hello everyone, I'm Millie Bobby Brown and I'm going to be taking a look back on some of my scenes during my career thus far. So let's do it.
She broke my arm! My arm!
Go. Go. Oh, this is I don't even remember it. I never really watched season 1. I didn't really have time. The second it came out, you know, we just went on press tours and interviews, and now we're able to kind of relish in it more and really enjoy the show. It's so cloudy, the memories. You don't really remember like the specifics of everything. I did not think this would be big at all. And I actually still didn't. Like after we performed at the Emmys and went on Ellen, I was just like, it's gonna go up and it's gonna go down. I didn't know. And then I was just like, oh, I've gone up and I'm like staying consistent and I'm able to continue doing really great things. But like I'm 10, so immediately I'm like, I just want a puppy and my hair to grow back. You know, that's really all that I was thinking.
Let's go! Go! Yeah, that's right! You better run! She's our friend and she's crazy!
I love that line. That is my favorite line. Also, I think my friends actually say this about me. They're like, she's our friend and she's crazy. Gaten's performance in this makes me so happy. Oh, the energy he brought, it was just like magnetic in the screen. Oh, the void, the most depressing place ever. I'm always alone. I'm always having to be emotional and scared. I'm in water, my feet are pruny, I'm hungry. It's my least favorite set ever.
Mike, I'm sorry. Sorry, what are you sorry for? The gate.
Girl, she needs braces. You see those teeth?
I opened it.
I think this is probably the most I spoke in the whole of season 1. I remember being like, I have lines today. Like, this is so fun. And I remember how cold it was. And I remember actually laying on that gravel. I remember I was studying Mesopotamia and the Fertile Crescent. And all the boys were a few grades older than me, but they were like, we know about Mesopotamia. And I was like, okay, I hate myself. But yeah, I remember having to go back into school and doing like 4 hours of school in between these like really emotional scenes. So we had 2 jobs. This is such an iconic scene because you start to go, oh, Mike and 11, like they might be falling in love, and there's Dustin. You know, it's just like very, very cute, the friendship that they have. And I think this is the beginning of the wonderful friendship between the boys and 11.
I'm Kyle Dixon.
And I'm Michael Stein.
We do music. We've done a show called Stranger Things.
We're gonna talk a little bit about what we do and how we do it. When we first approached to do the music for Stranger Things, it was a very exciting random email from the directors, just kind of telling us they liked the music of our band. They had been using it in a mock trailer for the show.
They sent us the trailer that had one of our songs called Dirge. It's the last track on our first LP.
And they decided who was going to do the score to this TV show we're going to work on. Let's ask these guys who were using their music currently. Basically, they just wanted to know if we had any interest in being a part of a sci-fi drama with Winona Ryder on Netflix.
We wrote him back saying, of course we're interested in doing this. Here's a bunch of music.
When you make stuff conceptually for like a library or just stuff that you think sounds cinematic, actually seeing that stuff fit to picture, almost all the music we submitted from the library is not stuff that crossed over being able to be used in the show.
The things that are effective in score are generally a lot different than a pop song. And I'm using the term pop song like pretty loosely.
Structured. This many bars, A, B, C, which is not how score is. Score is like what is this thing? And now, and then it's like, oh, and then it's like cute. And then it's like, this music's super weird. It's almost like some form of abstract
schizophrenia,
prog.
yeah. But it works to picture. We have tons of influences. I mean, we grew up listening to Aphex Twin, Detector, and Bogdan Rudzinski. All the experimental side of pop electronic stuff.
I probably watched Big Trouble in Little China 100,000 times. The Keep, which Tangerine Dream did the score to this early Michael Mann film.
The music in that movie is incredible.
Ex Machina was really cool. Same with Annihilation. I don't think as an artist you can try to ignore or act like you're not influenced by stuff, but all art takes things and you absorb it and adapt it and it becomes some new thing. Everything evolves from things you've experienced. When we approach music, we obviously have all the influences and inspirations, but you get in the studio and you experiment, and that's where we come from. So it's always about finding new things, and that's what keeps me excited.
It's very fun to make your own sounds, and in doing that, you're going to create something that's more unique to yourself. When you're using things like modular synths, it's even hard for you to recreate the same sound twice. So in that way, it's unique even to that specific session.
Season 1 allowed us to approach some of the horror, like the mysterious scenes where like Nancy's going to look for Barb out in the woods, and there's these cooler experimental ambient pieces of music I just think are really unique. The jump scare sound was actually a combination of a broken piano we recorded on a field recorder the first time we visited the set.
When Mike and Dustin are being chased to the quarry by the bullies and then 11 saves them is one of the themes from season 1 that got reused and reinterpreted.
This actually got reused when Joyce was axing through the wall.
The end of episode 8, it starts when 11 comes back and then goes through the credits and kind of plays out the more epic version of that.
We defined like a handful of themes early on in Stranger Things because there's definitely different little worlds that exist and there's different characters. So there's some specific themes and then just kind of general moods and sonic soundscapes that represent different parts of the show that creates rules and boundaries you can work within.
One of the challenges for us was to figure out how we were going to do action music in our own way. We did that with the use of just kind of atonal percussive elements with like a brooding kind of bass underneath it.
Steve! Steve! Aboard! Aboard!
When Steve is trying to lure the demo dogs,
it goes through just a lot of like ambient, kind of eerie, suspenseful stuff. It'll build to a big rise and then drop in, like have a jump scare. Because of the action, the higher energy stuff, we got to revisit a little more of the themes of where we come from with the band, stuff with drums. Just these bigger, more epic pieces that are driving.
We've made music in just about every way that you could possibly make music. We've made music together. We've made entire pieces separately. We've started an idea, sent it over to him, had him work on it, send it back to me. We've done the back and forth thing.
Yeah.
We've done just about every combination of collaboration that exists.
We're fortunate we've been working together so long that basically we're able to create music that we know could come from either of us.
This better be good, Stalker.
So this is my workspace with most of my equipment. I guess you guys wanted to know a bit about the theme song. Misconception, everyone thinks that the little arpeggio was written on a Juno, which I don't even own.
And it wasn't an arpeggio, it was played by hand.
And it was this guy.
That's doing the main sequence. This is what played the bass line. It's a SH2, very good, aggressive kind of bass line.
Doing a little self-resonating filter. Did
The heartbeat?
Heartbeat, the like thump, da-dum, da-dum. Prophet 5 is in there, doing some kind of
Like a
little pad, little piano kind of tone.
Tape echo is like all over everything. We love tape echo.
There is 2600 doing a lot of sound effects.
The day that he bought that synthesizer, he brought it over to my house, like, let's make a big drum sound. So we did that, and then we had that recording way before Stranger Things was happening. And then it ended up making it into the score, and we ended up recreating it to make it fit with the scene. But it's funny that literally the first thing ever recorded once he bought that made it into the soundtrack.
The monster, like the upside down. Is the on. That was actually just sequenced on one of these like step sequencers. The notes are weird because it's analog, so you can fine tune like between notes.
It's kind of hard.
Stuff you couldn't play on the keys because the tuning is microtonal.
I don't understand. Hiding.
This one has this piece of tape on it because that had the monster theme on it. I was scared to change the knobs, so I put this piece of tape on and didn't touch it for like a year, which sucks because
it's a really good thing to use.
Because I want to use it.
It's a really good thing to use. When scary things are happening, there's like kind of like a big whomp, like a big kind of tuba sounding hit, and that's the 2600. If you're making music or doing any kind of art or whatever, and you're enjoying it, just keep doing it. Because we were in a band for like 10 years. We didn't expect anything to happen. We were gonna keep making music anyway because we like doing it. And then one day we got this random email that changed our lives completely. So if you like something and it makes you happy, somebody else probably does too. They just need to find it.
This is Notes on a Scene. My name is Christina Graff.
And I'm Paul Graff, and we led the visual effects team of Stranger Things Season 2.
You remember me? Right. Will you let us pass? Okay. Sorry.
And in the climax of chapter 9, there's like 3 storylines that converge, and they're all visual effects storylines.
The section that we'll cover is primarily underground. There's interconnected passageways, and in these tunnels, the demodogs are living.
Okay, so here we're in this forechamber. It's like a big circular place, and Will just ran into Dart, and that's Dart here on the side. And actually on the day, we had just a plastic head on a broomstick, and I was operating the plastic head. So we have an eye line here. They have something to look at. Dustin pulls out his nougat, and his love for this animal is paying off and saves everybody's life.
The demodogs, they have 5 different stages. The first stage is about the size of a large tadpole. The second is about the size of a nice frog or toad. And the third is about the size of a cat. And the fourth is about the size of a dog.
We're going like from cute here, and then we go like right here, we go to scary. The thing is, it's kind of difficult to be cute with these animals because they, if anybody has ever noticed, they don't have eyes. And we still, like, they have to convey their emotions and reactions just with body language. And so that was really important to the Duffers and to us. If you go to chapter 3 and chapter 4, there's like a whole evolution of this little cute dart animal, and we kind of don't want to give away right away that it's a Demogorgon. And of course the thing where you would see that is when the mouth opens, so it doesn't have a petal mouth until it gets to stage 3, and stage 3 is when he eats the cat, because we have to communicate this to the kids so they know what they're actually looking like. Dustin was really excited about it, like how these creatures look and how they move. So everybody knew, oh, they're going to be really cute and they're going to look really good. But on the day, we don't have those. So I figured, why don't we just 3D print those?
First of all, it was like something tactile. They could actually see what the weight of a Demogorgon would be in their hands.
What we did is we took always one of our puppets into the first take. And then eventually we'd take everything out and say we just play just completely without, unless it's something that's where they're really handling it and it being interactive, like Gaten with putting the polywalk under his head. There's these snowy particles that you always find in the upside down, and they're called spores because we think that they're like seeding like the upside down world and the upside down plants. You don't just get to put like some random things in here and just not have them art directed. I can say like pretty much every shot spores have been treated with a lot of love to like the way they are moving, to the depths of field, like they need to sit right in the shot. And then there's like sometimes there's ones that just curl right by the lens, but they never want to be too much in your face or too little. Like it's just a sort of like a balance that has to be found. And so I can say I'm very proud of the spores of season 2. They react to flashlights. There's like all kinds of funky stuff that's going on with these spores. They are randomly generated. So you'll have some spores that misbehave and do something stupid, like they spin really fast or they run just right over the nose of somebody when it's an emotional moment, and they're like 99% CG.
What happens is there's basically a cutout. It's called rotoscope. And you'll have to rotoscope each object or creature that's in the foreground, and lots of times you'll have to do things in the background too to create depth, so that you can add spores in 3D space and Z space throughout the scene. And you'll add atmosphere.
And they can like flow around, they do like funky stuff, and they react. They're not just like a sort of a snow pass that's overlaid of everything. They're actually in 3D space, and when the camera racks, it racks in the spore space.
The tunnels were designed as kind of like a crossbreed between, production design and visual effects.
You can't really move a camera inside of these tunnels because they have all of these ridges and rifts, and you can hardly walk in them, but you can definitely not do a dolly shot or something. So as they turn around, the dogs come around the corner, they're looking at the dogs, and then they turn around as the dogs run towards camera. There was no tunnel. There was just like basically the tunnel behind them, and then we just like filled in the rest of the tunnel in the foreground.
This was the end. So, and
then there were like little lights
extends out
around it, so we can track it, and we know where the edge is, and then we basically do a digital tunnel extension on top of it. This is the climax, basically the climax of the entire season 2. While the visual effects in Stranger Things are not really the main attraction, we could do a bad job and really hurt the show, And what we have here is we have this kind of shark cage elevator that they're going down in this place that's called the Rift Chamber. And that's actually the only set that doesn't exist.
This yellow outline is the only practical thing on that set, plus obviously the actors.
So it's basically an empty room, and then inside of this empty room you have like 3 blue screens, big panels with wheels at the bottom, so you can run them around. There's another one here. And then we have some light sources. It's red and yellow, so let's use yellow. So basically then we have like light hitting them from different places in different intensities. And wind, we would have some propellers, right? And that's really it. That's it. That's all we had.
This skin is what we call the rift membrane. We have a couple of things that are flying around, and then you have all of the wind and the atmosphere, and how does that interact with each other? And then behind this, you have the Shadow Man, which again is like its own entity, but they all have to speak to each other. It all has to sit in the same scene. The cage needed to shake a lot. Once those demodogs were jumping on top of the cage, there needed to be some sort of instability like underneath it, because it's something heavy has just landed.
Yeah, we thought maybe we'll have somebody jump on the roof of the cage, but first Eddie wasn't too excited about it. And so instead we had somebody below the cage just rattling it because it's a box, so it doesn't matter where it comes from. So we had like somebody stand below the cage and jerk it real hard when the dog lands. That's when Eleven kills the Demogorgon at the very end of season 1. He kind of turns into this cloud of ashy particles. And so at the very beginning, when we were talking about the Shadow Monster, we're like, what if it's made out of these kind of ashy particles? Wait, maybe we just take that theme and just like develop it into the next round. And like, what do we have that's kind of like our ashy particles and electric and big and black? And we have tornadoes and we have like big storms and volcanic eruptions. And like, that's what was kind of like the source material for this monster. So what you have here is Shadow Monster comes out, swirling. It's a particle system, so it's basically just a bunch of particles swirling around. She basically builds a shield, and it just spreads everything out sideways. She just pushes back, and while she's hitting this, she's already airborne and floating, and she's actually hanging off of a wire rig. She's not connected with the cage. Well, you can see that her eyes are looking like a little odd. They're really black and really big, and so that's digitally done. And then there's veins forming, like here, all of these little guys forming under her skin and around her eyes. It was digital makeup, and basically you start with like putting just a bunch of dots around your face, so you know how it's moving and you can attach something to her face.
Tracking marker.
We had like different iterations of like really intense and less intense, and we wanted her obviously to still be 11, like not like find a nice balance between her turning into being in a very extreme state and turning into a monster. We didn't want her to look like a monster, so it was like a little bit of like dialing in, dialing forward, and dialing back a little bit, and this is the result that we all felt really excited about.